Sir, can I be real?
We back at it like a bad habit.
Yeah, we what?
We back at it.
Like a what?
Bad habit.
Yeah. Bro, what you got there, bro? You been sipping for like...
Bro, man. So, man, little man's health tea, bro. So,
okay.
At the Alkaline Hour, if y'all
okay.
but they do have women's health tea as well. They got more products, but it's all natural herbs.
Right.
So, you need to get you some of that, bro. You gotta try it.
Man, I thought it was some moonshine.
Nah, man, this some men's health tea. So this one has got the testosterone, helps with the liver, iron, and then for the people that do, they have a erectile dysfunction.
Right.
It's going, you know what I'm saying?
Man, what's this called?
This men's health tea.
Men's health tea. Where they can pick that up?
Alkaline Hour. So they got one in Dallas, in the Dallas area, off Marsalis, and then they got one in Plano too.
Yeah,
but all natural herbs from any herb you can think of, the elderberries, the ashwagandha, all this natural. So none of that store processed, store bought. This is real.
Oh, that's real. Yeah. Hey man, I drank some of that one time. You put me on that.
You too.
That's so true.
You watch the movie Black Panther? Y'all seen Black Panther?
Yeah.
You know when he got them powers?
Yeah.
That's a drink. He was drinking.
I need to go get another bottle. Yeah. The Alkaline Hour. Hey y'all, welcome back to another episode of the Can I Be Real podcast, man. This episode is sponsored by the Love Deposit Studios, man. If y'all want to get some love, some deposit, some withdrawals, man, come down to Love Deposit Studios. They'll take care of all your studio needs, man. Located in downtown Dallas. And last but not least, we got one more sponsor.
Yeah.
Order my steps.
Order my steps, man.
Hey, look at the feet, man. They see, we stepping today. Everybody's stepping today, man. You know what I'm saying? Order my steps 5, man. Y'all see the lineup. Y'all see the display. Every week we coming with some heat.
Right here is crazy though. I ain't gonna lie.
Nah, them joints crazy.
Them crazy.
But them pink ones at the bottom.
For sure.
Feel the inside.
The inside.
Heaven.
It's different.
Yeah, that's different.
It's different.
That's a piece of heaven in the inside of that shoe, man.
What is Order My Steps?
So Order My Steps is sneaker. It's a sneaker website that they have all the premium Jordans, Dunks, all the new hot and latest shoes. So instead of waiting in line, you go online, order your steps, 5.com, you get the latest and greatest, man.
Okay, cool.
Deliver right to your door, or they do if you're in the Dallas area, they do scheduled pickups.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, man. Order My Steps 5.com.
Well, you just put me out of something. I need another.
A little breakaway pop up.
Little breakaway.
You know what I'm saying?
Hey man, but we here, man. It's Dion the motivator.
Man, King Miles is legendary, man.
Yes, sir. In the building. Hey, and who we got today, my boy?
Man, who we got, brother?
Man, look, this is Jeff Green.
Yes, sir.
The entrepreneur, the
father,
the young businessman, the sponge, the humble one.
Yes, sir.
And the quiet Taurus.
Yes, sir.
The Cavity Podcast and a few other ventures.
Yes, sir.
This is Jeff Green that you're hearing right now, man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Thank you guys for having me on.
Hey, we appreciate you. We appreciate you, my boy.
Yes,
appreciate you. Welcome to the Can I Be Real podcast.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Hey, let's jump right into it, man. What's up, brother? Hey, man, how y'all week been, man? Like, what's you know what I'm saying? What's the temperature?
Solid week, man. I'm right now mentally.
Yeah.
Probably at a good 8.
8.
I'm feeling pretty good.
You came up. You was a little 7.5 last
night. Bro, I'm at 8, bro. Just
I'm
really just tired from the traveling, but overall mentally, bro, just where I'm at, I'm at 8, bro.
Man. That's what's up. What about you, Jeff?
I would have to say an 8 too.
Yeah.
My -2 come from being wore out from the week.
Yeah.
Just needing to get some sleep, but other than that, man, I'm fired up.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Glad to be here. Glad to be where I'm at.
Yes, sir.
Because everything is divine and I'm right where I need to be.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All praise be to the Most High.
On time, bro.
Yes, sir. Hey, man, I'm at a nice little 8 point. No, I'm at an 8 too, though. I'm at an 8 too, man. I feel good. Like, I always want to say a 10, but it's like we can never just be 10.
Life gonna be
life gonna be there. So I'm gonna say an 8 too, man.
Can I be real?
Can I be real? Hey, cause one week I came in this mug at like a 6, boy, and he like, bro, stopped up, signs of stuff going wrong and doing that, boy. I'm like, God dang. But hey, but this week, man, it's been good, and we always talk about lessons learned, right? And one of the biggest lessons I learned this week was like just being patient. You know what I'm saying? Just patience. It's like that keep coming back to me, bro. It's like, you know how they say if you don't learn the lesson, you gotta keep going through it over and over until you get it right. So it's like God showing me, like, bro, work on your patience, my boy. Like he keep giving me lessons to do it, and I ain't gonna lie, I fail some. I ain't gonna lie, you know what I'm saying? I've been failing them, but at the same time, I'm realizing like I gotta be patient, man. I gotta be patient, man. So yeah, man.
I think that's something that's kind of hard for, especially when you already see something that you want that you're going after.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? It's hard to be like, because I know everybody kind of pushed into notion like, all right, you want it, go get it. And I got that problem too. Like if I want something, I'm going to get it, bro. It's no waiting on me. But I'm learning too that the things that we want in life is like a flower. Like you was talking about earlier. Once you water it properly, in time, depending on what you know, depending on what flower you planting,
yes, sir.
It takes different time frame. You have to be patient with it.
Yes, sir.
It's like that's different. Something I'm learning too, bro. That patience.
Yes, sir, man. It's good you talk about that flower. Because some flowers you can plant them, you can nurture them, you can grow them, and then you can do something to them. They can help elevate your mind to a whole nother look.
What kind of flower you talking about, bro?
Hey, that's our next week's sponsor.
I'm
just doing it.
Hey man, so I got me too, man.
But nah, Jeff, man, what's going on, brother, man? Let's get into it, man. Who is Jeff Green, man? Where your journey started from? Like, where you from, man?
Well, I started where I'm from. I've been here in Dallas for 6 years, but I'm from a little small, remote, crazy town called East St. Louis, Illinois. And so I was born in St. Louis, across the bridge, but raised in East St. Louis, Illinois. Come from a very strict Pentecostal raising childhood, very limited belief, church 6 to 7 days a week kind of lifestyle living growing up. So they kind of raised me in a deprived but militant type of lifestyle and growing up in an environment. So I said about 7, 8 years old, the church was actually my grandfather's church. And he had a candy store adjacent to the church that he would run and make money through the summers and put the family to work in, the grandkids, his children. We all came up through the ranks of working in the corner store in a city called Madison, Illinois. And so that's where I got my start in entrepreneurship, was actually working at my grandfather's church in the physical. But mentally, seeing my grandfather move from Grenada, Mississippi with an 8th grade education coming from sharecropping, moved to East St. Louis with nothing, with a wife and 10 kids, and to raise them on an 8th grade education, building churches, running stores, owning property and land. That was my first mental taste of entrepreneurship. And just being a child and sitting up looking at that and seeing like, dude, man, you a pastor, but you haven't been to school for none of this. You got all this through hard work and structure. And I would see him always hire people, you know, we grew up cutting grass and working and doing little odd jobs. And just being able to hire people, being able to be a blessing to different families, all by the work of his own hands. So I learned then earlier the power of ownership and what having your own money and being able to do as far as moving the economy forward or moving other families forward and being a blessing to your pockets and other families, what that actually looks like in the flesh. So selling penny candy, that's back when you can get penny candy for a real penny. Now you pay $1 to maybe get 25 pieces.
In my hometown,
a Snickers like $2.25, bro, $2.75.
Yeah, back then the Snickers was a good 45, 50 cents.
50 cents. Yeah, you can get the Snickers for 50. It's a place in Alabama right now where I go when I go back home. It's the only store that I know that still sell penny candy. Yeah. You know, every time I go, $5, I'm coming out with a brown bag. Nothing fruities. And the Airhead's still 10 cents. He sells 10 cent Airheads and a penny fruities.
Yeah.
And just
Airhead's $1 now.
Tear them up, bro.
Airhead's $1 now.
So I grew up counting all of them by hand.
Got you.
And giving them to customers.
Giving them out.
You want 100 fruities? We got to stand here and count 100. You know, so working in the store, and also my mom being a kindergarten teacher for St. Louis Public Schools, I grew up in in the numbers game early. Before I went to school, I knew my timetable. I knew how to read. I was growing up in conversations and around people back in the day balancing checkbooks manually. So being exposed to that kind of stuff early is something that I've always been around as far as entrepreneurship. And, you know, growing up and going further and moving away from them and finding my own way, you know, that led to the streets. That led to me working for the cartel for a little bit early and young when I was 16, 17. But just the whole goal of entrepreneurship and what working through your own ideas can create as far as a gift birthed into the world. Not just for the money, but for just the ideal of something that's small as a thought can be brought into fruition to bring economic change to the world, man.
We got me.
That wild me early.
Yeah, you done wild me.
That wild me early, man. So
hey, like you talking, it's like you doing this. Like,
yeah, bro. I'm like, work from cartel.
Oh yeah.
It's crazy.
So yeah, like go through that transition. Like I know you said you started out working in the store with your grandfather.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like, how was that being a kid, seeing your grandfather grind, and then you at the time may not even understand the grind, you know what I'm saying? Because you know, we kids, my granddad had an ice cream truck, he's like, you coming to help me? And I'm like, yeah, I want to go play. Like, you know what I'm saying? How was that for you? And what was the most important thing that you learned from that?
It was rough, lonely, and in my mind, it was child abuse. You know, because when you're around a family like that, honestly, you don't have a childhood. Ain't no going outside to play no ball. You know, my outlet was honestly the jazz band and the marching band at school.
Gotcha.
So, you know, that's another story, but I've been playing bass guitar and singing for 25 years as well. So that was my outlet. Music was my outlet. That's the only thing I could do. If you wasn't doing that, Negro, you out there cutting grass. We got 10 properties. You cutting grass, you working at the store, and then my actual father, which was my mom's brother, he took me in because my mom wasn't able to raise me. My mother suffers from bipolar schizophrenia, so they took me in at one. So going from being under your real parents but not having a biological father to going to being under somebody who's not your parent, who's never had a child physically, who struggles sometimes with stuff that his father went through, passing down, I wouldn't say, I'm going to say it, generational curses in the form of home training. Battling all through this at the age of 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, on top of not having a childhood. So it was a thing that molded my mind early, which later I had to grow out of some of those habits because it's not real life. But it's when it comes to the entrepreneur, the man, the standards, the numbers, the no gray areas, black and white, standing on being a man and being a different man in this day and time. I can appreciate that for what it was. I can appreciate the seeds that kind of training put me through as far as such a time as this, where people is running an Allen Mall stressed out at 26, killing 8, 9 people for no apparent reason. Wow. So I can appreciate coming up through that and through those ranks. Now, transitioning from that, I ran away from home at 15, 16, because at that point I'm like, look, I got a job at the Hilton. I'm a doorman now. I know how to do business. I know how to hustle and make my own money. I don't want to be here no more. I don't want to go to church every day. I want to get out and smell myself. I want to be a man. I want to get out and experience the world. And so that's what I started doing. And that transition from at 16, 17, you got a job and you making a nice amount of money, more than your peers making. You young, you think that's it for you, that's life. So I got comfortable working at the Hilton in St. Louis at 16, 17, pulling in probably $200-300 a day from tips, and learning, using everything that I learned in customer service from working at the store, from numbers to know how to talk to older people and how to treat them, from being sitting under old people all my life. I used that to building boost revenue working at the Hilton. So I was gift to gabbing my way to $200-$400 in tips at 16, 17. So you making that kind of money, man, at that time, you're like, hell, I don't need nobody. I don't need to buy by no rules. So after a while, that dried up. The guys that was actually over that contract at the Hilton sold it, and they fired everybody. So now I'm like, shoot, I'm just gonna take my money and just try to hustle, and that's what I did. And man, it's crazy we're here in Dallas, Texas now, because I took my first trip here working for the cartel, bringing back bundles of 25 to 50 pounds of weed on the Amtrak train back in the late 2000s. 2010, 2011. I was working for myself, but I was working for the cartel. Always been to myself. So doing that, man, that's back when they were selling what they call corn down here in Dallas. That was the good days.
That corn.
So
if you had that corn, you had that good.
And corn up there in East St. Louis was like kush. So you could buy it down here. Back then it was like $200-$300 a pound. So I was coming down here dealing with the cartel, man, actually out of Plano. And I would always see the big skylight dome with the restaurant that was spinning. I didn't really know much about Dallas, but I always told myself, and I felt like one day, oh, you gonna live here. And now fast forward, you know, X amount of years later, I'm sitting here in Dallas on a podcast, I'm established here, business is flowing here, and different things like that. So it always comes full circle, whatever it's meant for you to be. I didn't know that I would have my preview moment, picking up bales of weed, wrapping them in bounce sheets, scared and nervous as that thing at 18, bringing work back to the city to support myself and to do other things. But we here now. So when I say preview, when we was talking about previews and movies earlier, you're always given the preview of your movie. So I didn't know that the Universal got me to Dallas way back then. Yeah, Dallas has been feeding me for a while now, even when I was doing wrong. You know. So just to fast forward to that, to doing that is what I was doing, man. And
so how was that transition like, going from like being a young child to having to feel like, okay, I gotta go in the streets, you know what I'm saying? I know you said you was raised up in church, you know what I mean? You had your family there, you know, you had that structure, but like now, it's like, you on the block, like not just on the block, you on the highway, like you moving and grooving. Like, how was that transition, you know, coming out of that situation?
Scary, man. Very scary. But it really was, it was scary to me, but it wasn't scary because the way I'm talking to you now is how I've always been, a nurturer. So even in doing business that's cutthroat like that, whether I'm talking to the plug or whether I'm talking to a customer or whoever, I'm talking like this. I'll figure out some, as far as leverage, that can give me good favor with a person, rather than being cutthroat. And that was my edge in the streets. That's what helped me to be profitable. That's what helped me to calm down and cut the robberies out and not deal with people like that and deal with high-class street people. Was my character and my spirit. So, you know, and there's always been a hedge of protection around me, even in doing that. So the transition, it was scary, but all in all, you're still doing business. And if you're a good businessman across the board with a good spirit and just knowing how to treat the janitor like you treat the manager, that goes a long way, and it crosses over a whole lot of plethoras. You know, it crosses a whole lot of plethoras in the streets or in an office building talking about a $10 million deal. A lot of things I tell people, your attitude is your altitude. A lot of people only get to certain heights in life because they're too nasty. The attitude. He
said they too nasty. My grandma calls it nice nasty.
They're too nasty, and that's their ceiling, unfortunately. That's as high as you're going to go. But a lot of nicer people that have good, clean hands and good, clean spirits and want to see people thrive and survive, they don't mind pouring. They don't mind not being selfish and pouring into people and pouring into different deals and pouring into different things, and that ain't got nothing to do with money.
No,
that's got everything to do with who you are as a person.
So what you feel like about, because you know, of course they got the saying that the good guy finished last.
Yeah.
Which has been like I'm kind of the same way. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm not a very negative person. I watch the people that's around me for as far as the energy that you bring around me, your aura, who you are as a person. My goal is just like every other man, just to be successful. But I don't feel like I got to step on anybody else's neck to get there.
You don't.
So of course, but you know, in most industries, they consider being a good guy, being a level-headed person, you can finish last. You know, which I've never, even when I talk to my brother, I've never brought up like, hey man, like we doing this for the money. You know what I'm saying? It's about the money. I always tell them all the time, bro, money gonna come. I'm not even worried about this. Money gonna come when it's supposed to come. Like, now I'm focused on the grind, the work, the result we put out, or the effect that we have on other people.
Right.
But going back to what I was saying, like most people really believe that the good guy finish last. You know what I'm saying? If you're not a hungry monster, then you're gonna take a L in most industries that you're in.
Well, that depends on who you sitting behind in the movie. Who you running behind, who you running in front of. It's all about perception when you say something like that. Because you know, that's a judgmental kind of statement that the good guy finished last. And I would say it's a folktale at this point. Because mentally, emotionally, spiritually, monetarily, physically, whatever, how do we know who's first or who's last?
What scale we use? Who's grading? Yeah. So like you said, it's all.
Because that goes back to, like you said, some of the people that you were even looking up to and thought that, man, this is good, let me take notes. You found out they were flawed.
Yeah. But see, even in that though, like, so if somebody, and this is what I'm learning, right? So like, take a person that may be like say something, you look up to somebody, right? And then you following them, and then you find out like, dang, they weren't living what they were saying, right? But what they told you worked.
Exactly.
Does that diminish their word because they weren't living what they say? Like what they saying was right because it worked, but they was just a messed up individual. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, you can still take, and pieces, because it's a message in anything, bro. Like it's a message literally in anything. And I think, like you said earlier, and we talk about, it's the perception, man. It's like how you choose to look at things, because it's like the yin and the yang, man. You know, it's like a big white part with a small black circle. Big black part with a small white circle. It's like positive and negative, right? But even in the positive, if the black part is positive and the white part is negative on the black side, you focus on more the black, because it's more black on that side. That's more positive you can focus on. Say you flip though, you on the other side, and it's more negative, which is the white, and it's a little bit of black, which is the positive. Guess what? You still got enough positive to focus on, to where if you focus on enough of that black part right there, you won't even see the negative around you. So it's like, I try to take bits and pieces from it, but in that though, but I'm gonna show you something. Sometimes though, bro, and I say all that to say, not like I'm living what I'm saying, because like you said, eat the meat and leave the bone. Sometimes I get so greedy of eating the meat, I get to choking on the bone, bro. God dang, man, you know what I'm saying? So it's like
eating them fish sandwiches.
You know what I'm saying? Like, cause your emotions get tied up, especially when we talk about people. You know what I'm saying? Cause like I love, and I love hard. You know what I'm saying? I'm like you said, like I be like the nice guy, but it's like, dang. It feel like the nice guy do, but it's like you gotta keep pushing as the nice guy. You know what I'm saying? As the level-headed guy, and I think a lot of people get the nice guy confused with the pushover. Like you can be a nice guy without being a pushover.
I think
you know what I'm saying?
People take your kindness for weakness. You know what I'm saying? People do overlook or try to overlook who you are just because. Me, like I said, I'm very level-headed. You know what I'm saying? Emotionally, I try not to let too many things get under my skin, because I'm super understanding. You know what I'm saying? It ain't really too much a person can tell me that'll make me be like, all right, I gotta just really cut you off. Because like at the end of the day, I'm like, bro, I understand. Like, you know, we all go through life. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, but at the same time, it's some people latch on to that. You know what I'm saying? And they'll try to become a leech, or they be like, okay, well, I get over that.
Yeah, see how I can benefit from it.
Yeah, I can benefit from it. And a lot of times, I just like playing dumb, just see how the person gonna treat me, honestly. You know what I'm saying? Because if you watching too much, then they'll know, like, alright, you need to be sneaky. If I play dumb, bro, they
like I don't even know.
If I act like I don't know, you gonna do it, and then that's when I go, okay, cool. Then I'll put it into perspective. You know what I'm saying?
That's real.
That's how you do it right there.
So let me ask you this, man. So we talk about like childhood, growing up, and like going through situations, right? And moving and maneuvering. So as you maneuver and as you learning and growing and you going through those situations, like what was that transition of like, okay, I was in the streets, like now I'm ready to get out of the streets. Like what was that turning moment to where you was like, alright, this enough is enough?
Two things. One thing is my first daughter being born. And I realized I didn't want her to repeat the same cycle.
Girls, bro.
Girls. I didn't want her to repeat the same cycle. And I figured out when she was being born that you're the generational curse breaker, sir. That's when it clicked to me. It's like that's why your path is so different. That's why you know, it's kind of black sheepish for you. You're meant to do a bigger work. So now this is a sign for you to go ahead on and tighten up. So she being born on top of, I ended up selling her undercover from this same batch of stuff I was getting down here. I ended up selling her undercover 10 pounds over the span of 60 days and got indicted. And I said a prayer, I'm like, man, if you get me out of this, I'll never touch it again, but you're gonna have to give me something, you know. And just so happened during that case, I told you guys about my music background. I was in the streets, but I was playing guitar at a pretty prominent church in the city. And just so happened, the judge over my case went to the church. I didn't know that. So when it came time for me to be arraigned and we were going through trial, she was talking to me like an auntie. Because her and my lawyer went to law school together. So man, everything that was in my life was appointed before I was born. The protection, the little doors that was left open, the cracks in the window I was just able to crawl out of. Because I've been raising myself for a long time, so I didn't have nothing but the Creator. So if He didn't get me out of certain stuff, boy, I probably wouldn't be sitting here today. So all of that worked out, man, and I ended up getting intense probation for 4 years, and that ain't nothing but dropping and, you know, making sure you're drug free. But I don't do drugs. I was just selling them to make money. So that soon fell off. But I was given the Sweet Tooth, the name of my first food truck, in a dream. This logo you see now was given to me in a dream, and I woke up in 2012 and started a candy store on wheels. And I've been chasing that dream ever since.
That's what's up, man. So you got the food truck. What all business? Like you got the food truck, and then from the food truck, like what was it like? Talk to us a little bit about that, like.
No, you're talking about what I have now, or what?
Yes, what you have now.
What I have now.
From the food truck to where you are now.
Okay, well, I started the Sweet Tooth food truck back home, and I'll fast forward with you to 2017. 2017, I got 3 kids now.
Gotcha.
I'm in an economic bind. I'm on child support for 3 kids. I don't know anything about the court system and how children work. All I'm thinking is create a relationship with the mother, be cool, raise the child up. But all in all, I was being manipulated and didn't know it. So I made a decision December 30th. I'm like, look, I need to get out of this city and think bigger. Not just for me, but for the children as well. Yeah, for the children as well. So I packed that food truck up, a 1989 Econoline E350 Ford that I had built by hand off of Facebook Market. I didn't know nothing. I didn't know if the truck would make it here. All I knew is get an oil change, put gas in, and drive to Dallas and start over. There's no looking back. If you don't get your behind up now, you may end up dead on jail. Get up. So I took the food truck, moved down here, man. Was homeless for a little spell, sleeping off the 360 by the where the trucks line up and parked by the hotel. I was over there sleeping. Used to have to get cutter candles and put on each end of the window to keep the mosquitoes out, and the 44 ounce glass of styrofoam ice to stay cool during the summers. But I had in my mind that I'm going to make it. I can't feel it's just me, and my children need me. And so after a while, the pandemic came. I broke that food truck idea down from food to a funnel cake concept. I figured, man, you can corner a market here in Texas only gets funnel cakes once a year at the state fair. Yeah. So even if you corner a small market, you're gonna be successful. Because I ain't seen nobody down there doing funnel cakes like Funnel Through doing. So I started Funnel Through Food Truck, and we've been rocking Funnel Through Food Truck. But Cousin Cavity and the Cavity has always been in my heart and spirit as far as everything I went to become who I am today. And how authentic and real it is. So this tooth is a testimony, a story to millennials like me, old people who need a person to look at to show them that you can make it and you can do it. And so I took the food truck concept that was the sweet tooth and turned it into a communications business. The podcast, the merch, Cousin Cavity, he's his own person. Letting you know that a person that came from a broken home, raised in the hood, went through child abuse, went through everything and pulled himself out. Some days I ain't had none but YouTube videos, but pulled himself out and been through it all and rebuilt and rebranded himself to the man that you see today. I haven't always been this guy. I haven't always been able to sit here and talk calm and express myself and be as affluent as I am. I dropped out of school in the 11th grade. I have no college degree, but I got mentors and people around me to help me and to cultivate my mind and to be what Daddy and Mama could never be, to be what I needed to see to get me to the level I am today. So the Cavity Podcast, Funnel Through, and my baby is the stock market. That's the love of my life. The stock market. The eighth wonder of the world. Compounded interest. Einstein said is the eighth wonder of the world. Making your money work for you in triple Xing or 100Xing a dollar.
How much time we got, Lois?
Alright, so let me ask you this then, man. With you saying that you know the stocks, right? How did you get into stocks?
Well, I got into stocks through actually my uncle Johnny Green, and he had a can recycling business in the hood back in the day. But he always stayed gone, big family property everywhere, and I'm like, the math ain't right. You got crackheads and low income people bringing you bags of cans and you paying them, but you taking this metal over to the metal company and they paying you, the aluminum company, and they paying you. And so he started talking to me early about penny stocks, about investing in gold, about investing in silver and the price of aluminum and how much per pound. And so I was listening to all this early, like I said, during the check balancing stages, 8, 9, 10, 11. I'm hearing about it, but I don't really know that much about it. But I see the lifestyle it's producing and how you're one person generating this kind of income and wealth for yourself that's spreading across vast incomes and that stuff that you're making for yourself. So the stock market, has always been a baby of mine since then. He always told me, throw a little bit at that SPX and that S&P every year. I don't care what you got, put it in there. Say that, throw some more in there the next year. It's the fastest growing commodity that we've ever seen in the stock market. Percentage wise, it raises every year. Just throw some at the S&P. So that's how I started it. But as I got older and joining, stuff like Recession Proofs and listening to him 500, I got introduced to another thing we call stock options. And that kind of sparked my interest as an older man for another leg of income, so I thought. But I didn't know once you get into the stock market like that, it affects your emotions. It affects your money management. It teaches you all kind of psychology skills. It goes back to reconstructs and break down how you think about money and how you see money as far as how you was raised, how your parents save money, how your parents utilize money, what they believed in investing. So once I got into the stock market, I didn't know I was getting into a therapy session as well. That would break down everything that I thought concerning money. How much money I thought I deserved, how much money I thought I was worth. My beliefs are limiting beliefs around money. I didn't know all of this would open me up to that.
Gotcha.
And making money would be a byproduct of what I learned emotionally and mentally concerning the stock market. So stock options has been, man, the bread and butter, the ATM machine. Yeah.
You coming? Man.
Hey, so for the people that may not know, what is stock options?
Stock options is buying a fractional share at a fractional of a price of a full stock, but you're selling commodities to people just like you and institutions, versus holding one stock for a long period of time. You're able to trade this stock within minutes, seconds, hours, days, or a day to make a profit on it right then and there, versus buying it and holding it for so long. So it's the practice of buying and selling shares at a fractional price within a shorter time frame than traditional institutional investing.
So I'm just now learning the whole stock option. I'm a newbie, very, very newbie. So what's some advice that you would give to somebody that's wanting to get into it? You know what I'm saying? They see the lifestyle that it can produce, but they know nothing about it. Well, what's the first direction you would point us to?
My first direction and pointers would be to anyone that's getting into it would be please come into it with an open mind, because this is a tool that can create the kind of wealth that you probably don't even see yourself being worthy of having. So I would say to anybody who's looking to get into it, be ready for change. Don't be hesitant to change. And I'm talking about change within self. Because once you figure out that it takes you to run the machine, to read and press the button to make the money or make the trades, then you'll figure out that everything that you ever dreamed about or ever wanted from trading, or even wanting to learn to trade, or even if you're just getting in it for the income, everything that you learned about or wanted is simply too small.
So you gotta do what?
Think big.
You gotta think a whole lot bigger. Whole lot bigger. So anybody who wanted to go into it, I encourage you to go into it. There's nothing like seeing your pennies turn to dollars at a fast rate. There's nothing like seeing your education work for you, and you seeing how smart you are according to your P&L, which is your profit and loss in your account. There's nothing like seeing you build an account from $5,000 to $50,000 to $500,000 over $5 million, all through studying and wisdom and knowledge, and you pressing a button on your phone, and you can do this from anywhere.
Man, where my phone, man?
You can do this from anywhere.
Shoot, man, listen. Dang, hey.
It's crazy. It's crazy. I will say this. So, me and Dan, we had these talks for minutes. I've been on him for a while. But it's the ability to make money off a phone. I think the hardest thing that I had coming up was, I don't want to say it's challenging, but it's definitely breaking the generational curse. Man, my parents, they kind of grew up in the whole the old mindset of, you know, you get a good job, retire, and that's life for you. You know what I'm saying? And you pretty much you be happy with whatever else comes outside of it. And we always used to bump heads, man, because I never felt like that was just the lifestyle I wanted. You know, like it's nothing against working. It's nothing against 9 to 5s. Cause, you know, I feel like they can be a great tool. But even recently, even talking with him, it's just, I look at a job now, it's like just a partnership or a bank to fund something else. So, but just sitting back, retiring, working somewhere, that's just never been something I felt like I've always saw myself doing. I've always saw myself creating something more, building something more. But you know, like we said, we all got daughters too, so my thing has been like giving my daughter something, giving my daughter opportunity, giving my daughter chance to be something different, you know, whatever she feel like she wants to be. In my household, I really had to kind of just argue and fight, like, man, like, you know, working a job, just retired, that's just not me. So the ability now to make that kind of money off a phone is like, bro, is mind blowing.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
And you gotta get used to it.
Thanks.
You gotta get used to it, because there are some days I wake up and it'll blow your mind. But there's people that's not like us and don't look like us that do it every day.
It's normal.
They wake up, they make probably $1 million or $2 million within 20 to 30 minutes to an hour, and they've been doing it. This is their norm. And if they don't do that, they feel bad. So it's like you have to get used to it. You gotta really sit in that car and recognize I deserve this. And due to our skin color, due to how we was raised, due to different things, sometimes, boy, it's hard to grasp and accept your own blessings.
Can I be real?
Man, we preaching.
Sometimes it's hard, but all you need is a little push. Like your daughter, my daughter, the little push. All we needed. August 28, 1963, there was a man standing in Washington for the first time in front of like 25, 30, it's probably 50,000 people, and it was televised. And he'd been doing speeches for a long time. But on August 28, 1963, like, this is the biggest crowd he's ever spoken in. And he's used to speaking in churches, speaking in schools in front of little people. And he got up there and started talking around and started getting off a subject and started kind of stuttering a little bit. And his best friend hollered out in the back, "Tell him about the dream, Martin." And from that point, I have a dream was born. All you need is a little push. 1934, there was a guy that bought a gas station on the side of the road in the Great Depression, where hamburgers was the #1 selling fast food, and it was just starting to happen. Like, they were used to like sharecropping days and everybody cooking, but fast food being a mainstream thing in 1934, everybody came out with burgers. But this guy had a vision for chicken. So he figured out that cooking chicken during the Great Depression, where women couldn't find work, it wasn't good for them to work, and men couldn't find work either. He figured that the corner of the market in the South would be to cook chicken. And he did this and took himself through school, through business school and everything, through the help of his grandmother telling him, this is what you need to do. And from that we get KFC from Colonel Sanders. All you need is
shout out KFC.
All you need is a little
push. All you need is a push, man.
So yeah.
Bro, this
man, we got.
Can I be real, bro? Hey, listen. Can I be real, bro? Hey, but before we get out of here, because we do something every show. We have a can I be real moment, man. And in this moment, we ask you a question, and we want you to give the most realest answer possible, right?
They might not want to hear it.
Yeah, hey, it's all good, bro. It's all good. My answer gonna be my question gonna be simple. I don't know what my boy got, but mine gonna be simple. So my question for you is, man, if you can leave our audience with one tip today, to where they can pick up their phone and do something in the stock market, in options, to where in 5 days, in 3 days, in a day, where they can see some type of results where they can make some money.
Okay. I would say top-down analysis, starting at the daily time frame. We have something that we call the 21 EMA, which is a moving average. What is the stock market moved at and the prices that is traded during the past 21 days, basically. That's why we call it the 21. I call it the Messiah because it's the strongest level on the board that tells you how to trade. And simply, if you're running green, bullish, going up above the 21, play nothing but calls when the trend changes for calls. If you're running bearish under the 21, play nothing but puts when the time calls for puts. That's the easiest way. On the daily time frame, if it's above the 21, play calls. If it's beneath the 21, on the daily time frame, play puts. And that the market may open up in a pullback against what you're supposed to play. Don't touch it. Be disciplined. Do not touch that. Do not play it until it goes within the trend according to the daily time frame. That's a simple tip to get rich as hell if you're patient.
Man, listen,
it's that simple.
And
do that. Don't listen to your mind. Don't jump in. I'm gonna get a few dollars. Just play the trend only. Don't gamble. Don't guess. Play the trend. I guarantee you, doing that one itty bitty method, you will compound wins and see a whole lot more money faster than doing it your own way.
Let me ask you one more question to go to that. This is part 2 part.
Okay.
What stock would you give them to look at next week to utilize the tools that you just gave them?
I will give you stocks with a high ATR, and I will give you stocks that's in the peak season, which is earnings season, and we're in tech earnings season. So your Apples, your Netflixes, your Snowflakes, your Nvidias, your QQQs, people that produce chips and stuff for computers and tech and stuff like that. Also, banks are doing bad but good. So you want to latch on to the good bank. And the heroes of the good bank right now is JPM. Boy, you can get rich off JP Morgan right now because they buying every bank that's going down. So JP Morgan is a real good one right now to watch if you want to make money. But my daily picks right now that does not fail me, I would have to say in tech would be Meta, JP Morgan, NVDA, which is NVIDIA,
which is a killer.
Enphase, which is a energy company. QQQ is kind of very volatile right now. It's been doing way too much. So QQQ is my baby. It's real cheap. You can get in there and get rich for pennies. So I haven't been really dealing with that. But Snowflake is another one. Snowflake is another tech stock that's very good. And the stocks that I'm telling you have high ATRs, which is the average true range. Average true range is how much a stock runs dollar and a penny wise a day. So each of these have on average run $7 to $8 a day, so you got plenty enough room to eat.
Hey man, listen, if y'all hear this part, if you just break that, rewind this last 5 minutes, and he said like over 100 keywords that you need to write down and go research and put this information together. He just, hey.
Well, I've been sitting there learning. I usually have some stuff to say. I've been learning.
I just gave you
Can I Be Real. And you just gave the formula. Like,
I gave you $1 million worth of game on Can I Be Real.
That's what I'm saying.
Ain't no strategy to go with it, man. I appreciate that.
And it's very simple. Just do that.
Yes, sir.
You may start off seeing $10. You may start off seeing 1,000. But anything green is better than anything red.
Thanks.
And we don't trade to gamble. We don't trade to lose. We trade to get rich and to set our families free along with others. So that's that.
Man, my question, man, I don't even know how to top that, but my question real simple, man. So who?
Well, your spirit leaping, I can feel it.
Bro, who does Jeff Green want to be overall?
Ultimately, I want to be the best version of me that I can for the world, because I'm a sponge. I learn things, I pick up things, I eat the meat and throw away the bones with certain things, but that sponge has to be wrung out. So when you talk about being the salt of the earth, when the Bible talks about that, when you talk about pouring into other people's lives, I'm only regurgitating what I've learned. So I want to be just that vessel, man, to say, man, if that dude could do it, he went from, being raised in broken homes or whatever, hell, I can do it. I got family around me. They may not support me like that, but if I see him come from family that was broken, I can do it. Or I may not have nobody supportive around me. I know he came up, he really didn't have nobody supporting him but him. And he said earlier that he pretty much raised himself watching YouTube videos and stuff. So if he can do that, and I got a college degree, then I can do a little bit more. So this is just motivation, man, and using my life and story as seeds and waters. It's not really about me. I'm glad that it's happening through me, It feels good, you know, to come from where I'm from, but I know there's so much more to obtain. So the people that I touch and shake hands with along the way is what it's about for me. It's not really about me, and I'm thankful to have that mindset because before and for many years I didn't. And once I was able to learn that, man, the sponge like got bigger for me. And I moved stuff around in my head, and I was able to intake more information. They brought me to higher levels of understanding, higher levels of finance, and different things like that. So I just want to be a vessel, man. That's it.
Can I be real? Can I be real?
Jeff, let them know where they can find you at, man.
Man, you can find me on Instagram, The Cavity Podcast, or Funnel Through. You can come through. We got the best funnel cakes in the city of Dallas. Look for us on a couple of big food networks soon with product. You can look for the Cavity Podcast, working with my guys that Cannot Be Real. And
you ain't got no Reddit, do you? You ain't got
nah, man, not right now. I wish I did. But yeah, find it on that. And yeah.
Just like that.
Just like that. Bro. And hopefully this ain't my last time.
Nah, this ain't hey, we're gonna come back with a whole master. Ooh, we need to do a masterclass episode on nothing but stock options.
Okay.
Let's do that.
We can do that.
Let's do that. And
we got some
break
stuff,
down
bro.
some words that
we got some stuff,
education.
We got some stuff
that's gonna be a mind shaker right there. If you ain't ready to think and be inspired or change the way you think.
Yeah. Because it's a psychology behind it.
It's psychology. Yeah. That's all we're gonna be talking about.
Cannot be real.
Cannot be real.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, yeah. Jeff.
Appreciate
you, my boy.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate you.